Welcome to Kick Up the Sass. No fluff, no faffing, just some real talk coaching. I'm Alice, your coach, and each week I unpack what's happening in my client check-in forms, including mindset struggles, nutrition and workout tweaks, blockers, wins, so you walk away stronger, sexier, and more badass than you were when you started.
I'm here. Had some really great check-in questions this week. I mean, they're great every week. I've been saying that at the beginning of every call. Mainly around food, and I do think food is generally a more complex topic than the workouts, because once you get into doing the workouts, you're just doing them and it's fine. So we will start with a question that's come up. I'm freaking, it's moving my chair. A question that's come up a couple of times on this check-in form from a few different ladies, and it's about energy levels and sleep, or energy levels and nutrition, and kind of advice for both. So I'm just gonna firstly talk about nutrition. Because sleep's a little bit difficult. I mean, I can talk about nutrition, how your nutrition can help you with sleep. I can't really help you get more sleep. Because, well, I can a little bit, but we're manoeuvring this down. I've got young children, so I don't know. I feel a bit kind of condescending. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Oh, just ignore that. I feel a little bit condescending talking about sleep to mums, because it is what it is, isn't it? But nutrition can help and exercise can help. So let's talk about food. When I notice my energy levels have dipped or dropped, or I'm really just struggling with energy, I just straight away I do look at my food. There's a massive correlation between how I'm eating and how I'm feeling. So if and let's just strip it really back to basics. If I've not been eating enough fruit and vegetables, if I know I've not been fueling myself properly, it's no surprise that your energy is going to drop. And it's kind of like with a child, when they just like drop off a cliff and then they're just like, don't want to do anything. They're just like flopping around and they just don't want to stop watching telly. They don't want to play. And they just like, you need a snack or you need some food or whatever. It's just the same with us. I would say, look at your food. If you're eating in a calorie deficit, make sure maybe you're eating all the way up to your calorie goal if you've noticed your energy levels are dropped. So let's say, for example, I've set you a calorie target of 1700 calories. If you're constantly eating at 1500, you probably are going to be really like lethargic and struggling, because food gives you energy, specifically carbs. So I want you to look and see if you've been kind of cutting out carbs, and around workouts in particular. If you are having fewer carbs to help you in the deficit, which is completely fine, by the way, and I do that when I'm in a calorie deficit as well, just make sure that you do have carbs around workouts, because it will give you energy for the workout and help your muscles repair and rebuild as well, like post-workout. And I do understand that not everyone can or wants to eat just before like a morning workout, because they can feel sick and stuff, which is fine. Maybe just have a banana or a protein shake or something if that's the time when you're really struggling with energy. If it's just energy levels in general through the day, then make sure you're eating at regular intervals. So, for example, I think something a lot of us can fall into is having lunch at like 12 and then not having your tea until the kids are in bed, and then it's like 8 o'clock. So you've basically got an entire day without food. And in that time, you've been working, you've been running around, you've been doing the nursery or the school run, you've been doing chores, all these different things that are burning energy. You might have even done a workout after work, and you've not eaten for like 8 hours. You are going to feel tired. And it does sound really basic, but sometimes we forget that food is for energy. That is what we're eating for, to sustain us and keep us alive. And if you're not eating enough, you're not going to have energy and you're not going to feel sustained. So look at your carbs. If you've not been having carbs with breakfast and you do a workout in the morning, maybe try and have like a little bit of porridge or some cereal like Rice Krispies. It doesn't have to be like really complicated, like, oh God, I need to be having whole foods and all this. Just a little bit of something, a slice of toast even, alongside your normal breakfast. Like if you're having Greek yogurt, have some carbs with it, or if you've been having like a protein shake and some fruit, have a slice of toast with it, something like that. So I think just checking yourself basically. If anyone wants me to check the food, when you've listened to this, drop me a message. And if you can pinpoint where, like, some specific days when you felt that your energy levels have been especially low, or a week, like if it was last week, for example, then I'll have a little look in your food diary and give you some feedback on that. The other thing to take into consideration, which isn't really food related, but if your period's due, a lot of women, myself in particular, like I think mine's due any moment. I'm just like waiting for it to arrive because I'm wiped out. The week before your period can be a really, really tiring and draining time for women. If you're on natural cycles, it gets a bit more complicated if you are on like hormonal contraception, and it's a little bit more difficult to kind of guess and estimate how you're going to be feeling. With your natural cycles, then you luteal phase, which is the week before your period, the week before you bleed. It is like a really draining time because your body's about to go through this massive change, and then obviously during your period as well, you can feel really tired. For a lot of women, you'll pick up again on kind of day 3, day 4 of your period, but if you're noticing that you are having these massive dips in energy regularly, it could be that it's cycle related. So that's something else to check. Like, is it happening the same time every month? And then once you know that, you can just kind of accept it and be like, okay, fine, I'm just tired this week, it's fine. I know it's my period's due. And then it's easier to like move on rather than getting bogged down in the ins and outs and trying to fix it. Like, not everything, unfortunately, can be fixed. And it might just be that, okay, I'm going to have to go to bed a little bit earlier. I'm going to have some more carbs around my workouts to give me extra fuel, things like that. Maybe like don't start like a DIY project the week before your period, or like a deep clean or anything crazy. And then sleep. So nutrition and sleep. I always, especially if I've done a workout, but actually at the moment because I'm trying to pack on some muscle for rugby, it's a non-negotiable for me. I have protein before bed, so whether it's a protein yogurt, a protein pudding, or a protein shake, I absolutely have protein every single night before bed. I like an evening snack anyway, so it just fits into that. And you might find that, especially if you've done like quite a heavy workout, that your body's struggling to relax enough to fall asleep. Like your muscles, I don't know if anyone's ever had it where like you laid in bed and your muscles are kind of like, I don't know, your legs feel like they're moving a little bit and you're not quite relaxing. So again, back to the food side, you might just need a little bit more food, especially on a training day. So try that, and try and have a little bit of food before bed, but something substantial. Screen time, put your phones away. So we all know this, we all do it, we all know we shouldn't be looking at our phones before bed, but phones away before bed, even if it's for 10-15 minutes. Try and read before bed. If I'm reading before bed, I'm gone in like 3 minutes. Like as soon as I start reading my Kindle, my eyes are like, oh God. And I do sleep better when I've been reading, and actually this is a good reminder for me because I've finished my book, so it's been like a week since I've read before bed. So I'm going to implement that as well. So thank you for reminding me about that. What else can help sleep? A really good bedtime routine. Basically, treat yourself like a child. A good bedtime routine, nice wind down time. And what if there are 2 parents in the house, and if one of you is up earlier than the other? What me and my husband tries to do is we'll kind of, if we know someone's up early for work or someone's got an important meeting or whatever, we'll decide the night before who's getting up if Elodie's awake in the night, because you don't both need to be up and tired. Like one of you may as well stay in bed. So if one of us is up a lot with her, we'll unplug the crying machine and even stay in her room or go in the spare room, which obviously is like a luxury that we've got that space to do that. But just kind of tag teaming and not both of you being awake unnecessarily will really help. For sleep quality in general as well, you could have like a chamomile tea. You could have a bath before bed, especially again on a post training day if you've been at the gym after work. Just go and have your protein in the bath for a nice full body recovery. I always find as well having a bath reduces my screen time because I'll tend to have my bath and then just want to get in bed with my book. So that does definitely help, like a few things kind of slot into place. Okay, hopefully that's covered energy levels. I'll make sure you're getting outside for walks as well. Oh, and then finally, this isn't food related, and the questions were specifically around nutrition and energy, but obviously we're going into winter. A lot of us are vitamin D deficient, so your vitamin D can affect your energy, so can iron, so can B12. So you might benefit from like a multivitamin. It's not going to do you any harm by just taking one every day. If you are more concerned, go and get some blood tests. You know, if it's an ongoing thing, get some blood tests from your doctor. But anything that you can just buy like in Asda, you're not going to like OD on vitamin D in a multivitamin. So it could be worth just supplementing, especially through winter, because well, the sun seems to have gone forever now. We'll see you back in April. Yep, lovely. Okay, next questions about weekend food. This does come up every week, but it's fine. It's such a hard thing to navigate, I think, and it genuinely takes practice. This was quite a specific question. It was about so she's got the kids at home and just isn't planning and prepping properly, so ends up just picking instead of eating proper meals. The easiest way to get around this is to eat when your kids are eating, because presumably you're feeding them 3 meals a day. Probably more, probably like 5 meals a day. So have breakfast with them, have lunch with them, and if they're having sandwiches, have a sandwich, have a chicken sandwich, have a tuna sandwich. If they're having like, I don't know, what does Elodie eat on a weekend? Chicken nuggets and waffles. You could have chicken nuggets and waffles, just track it, then you'll realise that chicken nuggets are actually really low protein and very high calories. But yeah, eat when they're eating and try and not overcomplicate your food. So this might be a good time to get a supermarket pizza in, like a high protein pizza from Aldi, the individual size pizzas, the small ones from like Aldi or wherever else sells them. I just always sound like an advert for Aldi when I'm talking about nutrition. And then you can have that like Saturday night, for example. I think maybe if you have batch cooked a little bit in the week, so if you made like a bolognese on Thursday and you've got a bit left over, that would be really helpful for you. Big thing I notice, and I noticed it in our house for a long time, and when I realised it made a really big difference, is we were doing our weekly shop, whereas what we actually should have been doing, what we do need to do, is we do now twice weekly shops. At least one of them is online because I just spend my life in Aldi. To the point where I actually like know some of the stuff. I don't know, it's a story for a different day. But by having 2 weekly shops, it means that we basically always have fresh food in. We eat so much food that I can't have enough food in the house without it going off. And I was finding that because I wasn't doing I was always doing a food shop on like a Sunday or a Monday, so I was fine for the week. But then by like Friday afternoon, we'd be just scraping around, scrambling around for food. There'd be no fresh fruit, like no berries. Like then we'd have brunch out, and then we'd have to have a takeaway on Saturday, and it was just expensive, but like not super healthy to do that every weekend. I mean, brunch out. I'd do brunch out every weekend. I wouldn't do brunch out and a takeaway every weekend. So try and just see your weekend as an extension of your week. And make sure you've got food in, like you would have for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like do a food trip on a Thursday or a Friday. And this goes for everybody really. Like I know that weekends are the hardest time of the week for planning and prepping. So try and even if it's two smaller food shops. Like, I don't think we actually spend any more money by doing two food shops a week. Because obviously, if we've got like carrots still, I won't buy another bag of carrots. Yeah, we'll have food left over. We'll have some food in. I might not need to buy like bread. I might not, there's stuff that I won't need to buy, but I will always need to buy meat and I will need to buy fruit, like bananas, berries, some veg, like sometimes peppers, sometimes not peppers, but I basically end up just doing two smaller shops. It's also much better from a sustainable point of view because we throw away much less food by doing two weekly shops. And because this lady's put a question about picking as well, so she's picking instead of eating meals. And I know that she knows the answer to this. Like, you know that you're not going to pick as much if you're eating meals. Plan some meals. Have a normal breakfast. Have the breakfast that you have Monday to Friday. Like, just have it on a Saturday and a Sunday. And even if you're not hungry when the kids are eating, and this is something that, so before I became a mom, I used to listen to my body a lot more. Yay. And just like eat when I'm hungry. That doesn't work when you're a parent. Stop listening to your body. Just eat. Because you don't know when your next meal is going to be. You don't know when you're next going to be able to sit down and eat a meal. So just stop waiting for hunger signals because that's a disaster waiting to happen, and just eat when you get the opportunity to eat. If you're eating breakfast, lunch and dinner, you're less likely to graze through the day. Make sure obviously that they're high protein meals to keep you satiated and full and reduce the snacking a little bit. And this is why I have breakfast at like 7:15 when I'm not hungry, lunch is like 12 o'clock, and dinner at 6 because I just eat like a toddler now. But it really does help, and it does also help with energy levels and your circadian rhythm, and it's all linked in. So these were really good questions this week, kind of all linked as well, which is nice. Okay, thank you so much for sending in those on check-in forms, and I shall see you all next time.
And that's your weekly Kick Up the Sass. Now go and take action. Stay strong, stay sexy. And if you've not already, scan your QR code and come and say hi to me on Instagram. I love hearing from you. See you next time.